friends. Welcome back. It's Hey Girl, episode 3. The third time is the charm. I'm so glad you could join us. Oh my gosh, you guys, I have such a collection of unbelievable women here, and we were just backstage chewing the fat, and I am so excited about tonight's show. Before we get started, if you're joining us for the first time, I am Margaret Edwartowski, and this is Hey Girl, a show where we elevate and celebrate talented women in comedy. I want to start off before anything else I do by saying hello to and a big, big thank you to our amazing producer, Jess Cooper. Where are you, Jessica?
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you.
Really a thrill to have you back. You were gone last time, and I was crying internally through the whole show. Although Parker did an amazing job.
He did, yes.
Yep. Welcome. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Hey. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
So I am a comedian, an improviser, playwright from the Detroit area. If you're really, if you have no idea what you've tuned into, and I'm going to bring on some great women to talk to tonight. Before we do that, I just had a couple of thoughts I wanted to share with you, as I do when we start off the show. So recently, this strange thing has happened. I have started to lose my voice in a couple of ways. The first is, I think I have some kind of polyp or node or something on my vocal cords. And as a singer, that's not awesome. And at times when I'm home singing while I clean the house or whatever, I sound something like a tubin singer. If you've ever heard of that, it's sort of this split double note weird sound that comes out, and haven't really gotten it checked out because it's really not the time. You want to be adding a lot of face-to-face visits with anyone, including your doctor. So we'll figure it out after vaccine or whatever. But along with that, at the same time, I also feel like I'm losing my voice metaphorically. And that is that the older I get, the more diplomatic and cautious and concerned about not offending people that I become. I don't have that feeling from my 20s where I'm like, oh, let me just give them a piece of my mind. Everyone cares what I have to say, right? I find myself not wanting to stick my neck out on topics, and I don't even try out saying new things. Like, I really want to say stuff is dope, but I feel like I'm too old for it, And so there's this timidity that I never had before, and it's kind of bugging me. And it especially such an important time when there's so many things going on that you do have opinions on. I feel like it's time for me to start using my voice again. So I have a couple of things I want to share that I really believe. And you might not feel the same way. And I'm totally okay with that. If you want a dialogue about it outside of the show, I'm glad to do that. I think there's room for everyone in the world, and that's part of it. But I want to share a few things with you, and then we'll bring on our great guests. So here we go. Hey, this is America. There should be a seat for everyone at the table, no matter where you're from, no matter what you believe, no matter how you look or who you love. Period. A woman's uterus is her business. A bunch of old white men got no place telling you how to manage your reproductive choices. Period. Everyone should have health care, and it shouldn't cost them a dime. I think it's particularly cruel to make sick people worry about the debt that will await them if they are lucky enough to get better. Whatever sex you identify as, I believe you and I accept you. Just because you're sick of staying inside, it doesn't mean the pandemic is over. And finally, if the Tom Holland lip sync of Umbrella video ever starts to play on any platform of social media, you are required to watch it all the way through, because that shit is dope. Amen. Let's bring on our awesome women, shall we? I first met this first guest here, but really one of the most memorable times of seeing her was in Los Angeles when I was on a random visit there. And at Second City, I suddenly heard my name and turned around, and there she was. So Esther Nevarez is from here in Michigan, but is transplanted out to Los Angeles. She has a background in post-production audio. She started off in recording studios, working with artists like Mickey Hart and Liz Phair and Ministry. It's very exciting stuff. And then moved into the post-production audio realm. She is a stand-up and an improviser and an actor. She's on the board for the Motor City Comedy Festival, and she has a streaming show on Planet Ant, which is where you're watching this now. She just did a great show today. It's a vegan cooking show called Hungry as a Horse that she does with her significant other, Jeff Horst, who's a stand-up as well. I hope I got all these things right. And I'm super excited to have her join us. Please warmly welcome Esther Nevarez. Yay! Hi, Esther.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
girl.
Hey, girl.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Did I get all your particulars right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'm excited to be here.
Feel free
Thank
to
you.
correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thrilled to have you. How are things in LA?
Great.
Good.
As in, I haven't contracted any virus, and I love being warm.
Good start.
All of that has been good.
What did you guys make today?
Today we made vegan chicken shawarma.
How was it?
So it was amazing. Like
I
haven't really been to restaurants, but I don't miss them because we've been cooking so much. The chicken was Morningstar baked chicken, and then we just seasoned the crap out of it with mostly Penzi spices. I don't know if you know about Penzi.
Heard of, familiar.
They are not shy about sharing their politics, and I love that about them. And their spices are great, which is super fun.
I find it funny, and I don't know if you've had this experience, like in the Detroit area, shawarma is like easy to find, and it's something that's very prevalent. Middle Eastern food is very prevalent here, but outside of Detroit, that's not always the case. Have you found that?
Yes.
In your travels?
Yeah, I haven't seen as much Middle Eastern food here at all, which is just weird because I just kind of got lucky and took it for granted, and it was just always around. And now I don't even know which place is the best. So I'm scared to give it a shot. I'm like, I'll just learn to make it.
Fine, I'll just make it for myself. Well, it's a thrill to have you, and now I'm hungry for shawarma. So thanks for that. Let's bring on our next amazing guest. I had the fortune of meeting this talented and lovely woman in the mid 2000s, late 2000s, through Second City. And I am such a fan. She was with the Second City Toronto for 4 reviews, I think starting in 2000, and 4 seasons on a show called Comedy Inc. on CTV Comedy, and is a star writer, executive producer on Baroness von Sketch Show. If you have not seen it, it's a CBC show, and also plays on IFC. It's fantastic. So you've missed out, and you should be ashamed of yourself, but you will get a chance to get to know her because she is here with us tonight. Now, just for the record, Baroness von Sketch Show won Canadian Screen Awards 3 times, I think, for Best Sketch Comedy Program or Series. So she's legit. And we are so fortunate to have her. Please warmly welcome Aurora Browne.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello. It's nice to see you.
girl.
Hello. Hey, girl.
Hey. How are you? I love the ponies.
Thank you. I was looking at myself on the screen and thinking, my straight hair was making me look quite like I'd been in the rain and was maybe sad. So I thought I would lift. Give myself a little facelift.
Uplift. Oh, that's good. Because I have them too, but I always put them low. And I didn't really realize I could probably although I don't think ponytails do anything for this.
The best thing to do is actually, after showering, you put the towel up and it's just kind of pulling everything back. And
that's the Sunset Boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm really good. I'm really
Welcome.
good. I'm here in Canada.
You are our first international guest, by the way.
Oh, exciting.
Yes,
exciting.
We're very excited about that.
It does feel, Canada does feel a little further away from you guys these days. Cause it's like, oh, come visit. Because I was just going, Esther, come up to Toronto because we have great shawarma. And then I'm like, oh no, you can't right now.
No. And that's funny for us in Detroit because, for us, it's like, well, just go across the street, or across the river or whatever.
Yeah.
But we can't.
I know.
I know. We went to Belle Isle recently and I was looking at Canada like, we missed you guys.
There you go.
Plus, you know, you have that free healthcare I was talking about, and kind of a hot minister. So
he's some people are not happy with him, but the really hot thing is the healthcare, and I cannot emphasize to everybody in America enough that you want nationalized healthcare. It is. I'm staying with my dad right now, and we've had I don't know how many appointments we've taken him on. There's one they're like, listen, when we did that last CAT scan, they saw something as long, so we're just going to get him in for another CAT scan, and you know whatever, and this and then that, and then this and then that, and it's just like you just never ever think about going bankrupt. And that stress, like I feel, I've spent the last lockdown just feeling like these waves of compassion for America, because it's like, oh God, guys, like it's so much better, you know. So I hope that that's in your future.
Oh, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so too. I just, you know, I don't know if it's getting older and having to pay those bills. I get more and more passionate about it. You know, the older I get.
100%.
It's my diverticulitis really brought it up. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to feel old. Let's bring on our third guest, and we will get into all kinds of cool, hot topics like that. Attention, attention. She needs attention. If you know her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This young woman was born into theater royalty in Detroit. Her mother, Lavinia Moyer, was the Attic Theater here, which was a sort of legendary space. She's a grad of the U of D Mercy Theater Company, University of Detroit Mercy Theater Company, and she was there in the heyday when a lot of really amazing talent came through there. She's a Second City main stage alum, also a member of the Planet Ant home team, which makes her pretty much related to me. She left us, moved to LA, and joined the 313 troupe out there, and has appeared on AP Bio and Bob's Burgers and Modern Family and Casey Undercover and Will and Grace, Two Broke Girls, Detroiters. It just goes on and on. And honestly, she is probably one of the most unforgettable people I've ever met in my life. Anyone who's ever met her remembers her. Please warmly welcome Jaime Moyer.
Remember
my name.
Hey girl.
Hey girl. Hey girl. And hey girl. And another hey girl. And hey girl, Jessica off camera. Hey girl.
How you doing, Jamels?
Oh, just delightful. Thank you for having me. And I had so much fun chatting with you guys before this even started. So let's keep it going. 24-hour chat stream.
Honestly, you'll be sad. Like, I get sad that it's only an hour. Like in the beginning when I started the show, I was like, how am I going to fill an hour? It's just never enough. And you guys are so cool. It's going to go by too fast.
It goes by. It moves.
It
moves. One thing, I'm just looking at all your beautiful crystal clear things, and I think my camera must be a little dirty. So I'm just going to...
Oh my God. I feel like you're my mom. Watching you lick that.
Yeah. Did that make any difference? Slightly.
Yeah, you look great. You look great. That reminds me of that amazing TikTok where the people are like, the song goes, white.
Oh, yes.
White. And so I wasn't sure if you were going to come back and be in like a whole headdress or something.
Come back as a drag queen.
Imagine. I enjoy TikTok, but I've never been on it.
Yeah, and likewise.
Well, Aurora, the reason I look so peachy is my beautiful ring light, which is actually just an IKEA lamp.
Can you see mine?
You guys don't need a ring light. It's just a lamp.
I can't see the ring light.
You know what I found really funny is, and I wonder how many people had the same experience as me when the world went to this kind of, you know, meeting space. Like, how many of us had tape over our cameras?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Mikey Browne from Planet Ant told me to do it. And it was always this thing of like, you never know who's watching you through your camera on your computer. So you had to like pull the tape off. And then you had this like sludge you had to get off there.
I took just a tiny little rock hammer like from Shawshank, and I just, you know, any camera I see, I just go ahead and break it up. So new computer.
I will have to give a little shout out and say thank you to Audra for saying yes, use that voice. I was really nervous about doing that monologue, but
oh my God, brilliant.
I'm telling you, I'm turning into a whip. So I want to start off with what you doing? What are y'all up to? You know, I know we've had a lot of different answers sort of during this pandemic time of either like I'm kind of in hibernation or it's been a really, busy time for me. So there's been a spectrum of like creatively what everyone's up to. But let's start off with Esther. What are you doing? How are you doing?
I auditioned for, I was at Second City, LA, and auditioned to get into Conservatory One. So I was doing that. And then I auditioned for my first sketch team and I made it.
Yay!
And we got, our first rehearsal was the first day they closed.
Oh.
So we met online and a Zoom rehearsal with our director then, and he ended up having to leave us to do the Second City show, the last show on Earth. I don't know if you guys have seen that, Billy Bungara, and now we're still meeting, and we ended up with his direction. We just went off on our own, and we're called Browne Comedy, and we've done 3 episodes on YouTube, and it's a monthly, we've skipped a couple months, but pretty much monthly sketch show web series that we did. And we did pandemic production pretty much, where we try to stay apart from each other if pandemic production goes in every way. Some are Zoom sketches, and we had never, for the first few weeks of writing, we hadn't even met in person. And it was just so interesting. So we bonded hardcore through all of this, and so now we're best buds. The only Second City LA sketch team that is together yet.
You're the survivors?
Yeah.
I'm a survivor. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna stop.
Is it opening yet? Is it opening yet? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, our last director was Adam Peacock, and it was great. The Detroit connections there are so amazing. That everybody is so like, oh, you're from Detroit? Do you know this person? Do you know that person? Oh, this, that, the other thing. So it's been really fun writing about the stuff that's going on because it's therapeutic and it's just something crazy happens and it's like, all right, let's write a sketch about it. And they're all on the same page in that way. We don't have any wild Trump supporter that's telling us we have to be a handmaid or anything like that. So that's been amazing. Everybody is super happy. So that's what I've been doing, along with some other stuff. My boyfriend does a web series called Roast His Post, and I write jokes with him. And basically, if I wasn't doing creative stuff, I don't know what I would do. I had this vision of being under my bed eating cans of beans because that's all we had. But I'm just like, this is how we die. So
yeah, it really is sort of a lifesaver in a time when you need to process and let off steam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you for surviving.
Thank you.
For that team making it through, and also that's so great that you've been so active and doing so much. How about you, James? What are you up to?
Opposite of what Esther's talking about.
Hey, all experiences are valid.
That's true. Esther, I was so proud of you because she totally did get we were emailing back and forth ever since she got here. She totally got on that sketch team. And that's what happened with this pandemic, I think, for everybody. It's like any little good thing that's going on, and then this just literally threw a wrench in the world's work, and I similarly was having a very, knock on wood, decent January and February creatively and booking things. And I was okay, baby, we're on the roll now. And then it just was a complete standstill. But I'm doing okay because I'm always keeping busy at home with projects. And I still, every day, I find that I haven't finished the things I set out to do in the morning. And Margaret always teases me about being an only child, but an OC can really entertain themselves. So I haven't been bored that one day of the pandemic. I've been reading, I've been making stickers, doing art projects. I've been watching, sometimes I don't even turn the TV on until the nighttime. Daily, I've been text banking, and that has been its own entertainment. When I've got some amazing responses back that are nice, and I've also got kill yourself. I'm behind you right now with a knife, like all kinds of weird stuff. So, but I've been text banking like a fool. And so I'm doing okay. And, you know, it could be worse. And I always tell myself that Lily Tomlin quote where she said, nothing is ever so bad that it can't get worse. So like, as long as everyone's healthy in my immediate vicinity, then I'm kind of feeling like we're going to just have to wait this thing out. But creatively, I shouldn't say that. I did do one animation pilot during the pandemic, and that was really exciting. So if that goes, then all this time will just have been a golden vacation.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, voice work would be the dream at this time of life, right?
It's I think the only thing that's back kind of normal. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know that I have a ton more understanding about your OC status now that I have OC myself.
You did it to yourself.
I did it to myself. So I get it. So lovely, Miss Aurora. What are you up to? How's your creative life going?
It's more creative than I thought it would be, because I remember at the beginning of the lockdown, I felt like I was just having to like pack my brain and my willpower in cotton to like keep myself from going out and interacting with people. Yeah. But it's funny because I had been working on a show idea with two of the women who'd written on Browne, and the pandemic just, like I'm sure a lot of things just like made that irrelevant. So we had to like put that on the back burner. We might come back to it. And so it's been a pretty, speaking of like golden vacations, like it's been this, like, it's like everybody's on a snow day, and, we've been doing this thing. And luckily we had already decided that we weren't going to do another season of Baroness. So the last season, we'd already like filmed it, and it was in the can of being edited at the beginning. Okay. So slowly, actually, it's become a creative time. Like I'm working on 4 different projects right now. 2 of them are like a documentary pitch, and one is a narrative thing, and one's a VR. So they're kind of like a wide range of stuff. And then just on a personal level, I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons online with a bunch of like friends from Second City. And it's been, I should say, role playing, because first we started with a cyberpunk campaign. And now we're back into Dungeons and Dragons with the Minds of Findelver, and I'm really loving it. And it's partially because it's great to hang out with people who you just want to chat. And some nights it's just like, how's everybody doing? And we just kind of like talk about stuff while somebody's sorting out, is somebody late? And then I've been it's funny, like it's not doing creatively, but like watching creative things, just to see like what would I want to watch right now? And I've come to the conclusion it's either like intense, crazy reality, like, like a Tiger King kind of thing, or somebody who's really diving into the present, like the Last Week Tonight and John Oliver and his crew, or super high fantasy, like The Witcher, give it to me. Raised by Wolves, give it to me. Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then also I had a really crazy dream that I was putting together a survival bag. So lately that's what I've been doing also. I bought a machete. I did.
Hilarious.
I'm starting to put together like a bug out bag. I don't know that I'm gonna have to bug out, but it makes me feel better just to know it's like, okay, I've got a tiny knife and a machete. Now I've got like a thing, like just something to put in the car. So I count that as a creative.
I do also lazily put together my earthquake kit, like lazily. I'm like, I'll be like, let me buy this flashlight, but I don't actually have a kit, and it's on my list of things I need to do.
I mean, we all play the game of like, what would we do in case, like zombies or nuclear, whatever, like. So I've just been doing that, and I understand those preparedness people a little bit more. I don't have a bunker, but I have a bag.
The funny thing is, I saw a thing about like all the preppers, right? Because think about Michigan is very, what you've heard about Michigan lately.
Heard about Michigan lately.
Very doomsday prepper societal thing, northward. And those are the people that are mad about being home. It's like, you have all the stuff you need, like you're all set up. Why would you need to go anywhere? I love your D&D answer. That makes me so full of joy.
It's so much fun.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. I heard the rest, and I think it's all amazing. But
Hey,
the
if that
D&D
sticks
thing
out,
is
no.
really what I'm leaving this
It's what
conversation
I live for
with.
every week. So my current character is a dragonborn who's like 6'6" and speaks really loudly. That kind of thing.
Oh, that's so awesome. I really do. I'm sorry, I'm carried away. But, I kind of tend to go down those types of rabbit holes too. I never played D&D in high school, but I was the girl who hung out with the group of guys that played D&D and sort of sat on the outside and made jokes about it and stuff, or watched them play video games. My nephew recently was being cheeky and trying to explain to me what an RPG was, right? And I was like, bitch, who are you talking to? This is not who I am.
I know what it is.
I have this flashback of high school when the guys I hung out with had finished playing this RPG and hooked up the VCR to the TV so they would record themselves beating the boss. And then every time we got together after that, we would sit and watch this 4-minute video of them like beating this RPG boss.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wasn't that amazing? You know?
Yeah.
So like, don't tell me what an RPG is, nephew.
I've been there. I used to work at City Club, which is this Gothic industrial nightclub in Detroit.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was the co-check girl for years at this
club.
And it was this, if you didn't know how to get in, you couldn't find the door, and 500 people on a Saturday night, and just that's a whole nother show, the things I saw there. But I went one time, I was hanging out with like the bouncers and a couple of the bartenders, and they were playing D&D, and they were so shy about it because they knew I was at Second City. And so they're like, I walk into the tavern. They're like looking at me because they know I'm just sitting there like, they're like, I walk into the tavern. A busty wench brings over a jar of ale. And I'm like, just dying to tease them. So then one of their girlfriends, we go upstairs and I go, I walk into the mall. Do I go into the Spencer Gifts or do I So I only got to watch them once, and then it was like no girls allowed. It was the general rule, but I just had to sit there and watch them. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I'm telling you, I would love to do a D&D type thing, but I just don't love fantasy. So it'd have to be more like a improv show, let's say.
Yeah.
Remember those?
Oh.
Oh, man.
Remember an improv show? You reminded me, Jaime. I'm actually, because creatively, I've been writing still, and I had started into this romance writing, and I've written these novels, and I'm pitching agents. I got a rejection this week, so hooray! That means I put something out there.
Are we talking like Harlequin kind of thing?
Yeah, in that realm, yeah.
Nice.
Contemporary, but all of a sudden I got this idea for a fantasy novel and I started to write it. And so I listened to YouTube music just while I'm writing to keep myself going. And somebody made a compilation of all the tavern songs from every fantasy show. So there was the tavern song from The Witcher, the tavern song from Game of Thrones, the tavern song from... So it was
Skyrim.
Yep, Skyrim. Yep, exactly.
I was just playing that music while I was making dinner tonight.
It's great to write to, by the way.
Yeah.
A couple things from our folks that are watching. Kate Holmes, who we love, she's Detroit Women of Comedy Festival. Kate Holmes, and she's in Boston with Friends. Is that what it's called? I think so. Mm-hmm. And she says we all look lovely, and I agree with her. Thank you, Katie. Kate.
Thank you.
She also said, "What would you put in your bug out bags?" Esther, what would you put in your bug out bag?
Oh man, weed. I don't know. Like,
yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Oh my god. What do you? I don't have an earthquake plan. I don't have any plan. I had a friend in Michigan with a gun, and I don't know who here has a gun, and it's been bothering me. My friend did.
Were you counting on having that friend with you?
Yeah, even though he lives in Lansing, I was really counting on.
I would drive to Lansing to be with my friend with a gun.
I was going to Robert Jenkins' house. Great comedian. Check him out. Yeah, but here, I did ask my friend Ron, I was like, I don't know anyone with a gun here. He's like, no, I got you. But he didn't say he had one, but he just said it real shady like. I was like, all right. And my one friend bought a machete too.
Oh, I don't come with a case, I guess. That your emergency plan is to rely on a friend who lives. I mean, what would that be, like an hour and a half drive?
Yeah, that was going to be an hour and a half drive.
And I like that you shouted him out and said he has a gun online.
Oh, he always talks about having a gun. He has a podcast about what you should be doing right now. But I mean, he's like a prepper from the other side. He's like a left prepper. He's like, this is how we grow our own food when the Civil War starts. You know?
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, let's go.
Jamie, what would you put in your bug out bag?
Okay, if I actually left, probably peanuts and water. So the one thing I've made sure to do is I have packets of water, and then in my trunk I have a big jug of water, because I think when the earthquake comes, I gotta have that water to rinse out my eyes and also to drink. But also, if it gets
tell us that, also for drinking,
be for hydrating, whatever, you know.
But if things get really bad, I think I might just. That's a wrap.
I told my husband if there was a zombie apocalypse, like 2 in the head for me, because I'm not a good runner. I don't want to put you down.
I don't have a gun, so it'll probably be more like pills and vodka, put on a movie, just roll out. But definitely
Aurora,
water and peanuts if I left.
Okay. Aurora, we know you have a machete. Is there
Yes.
anything else you want to put in there?
I
Tell
mean,
us what you're putting in there.
I do enjoy a crisis. I'm a Virgo, and I get really calm and focused in a crisis. I think it's because as a neurotic Virgo, usually I'm like, what should I be doing? Should it be this? And then when shit gets really real, it's like, this is the only thing we can do, right? So I get like really focused. And I am a fantasy person, and I love sci-fi. So like all the times I've watched like Janeway or, you know, anybody get like really like leadership, I'm like, I think of them. Okay, so I've got the machete. I've got a smaller knife for doing stuff. I've got a little fire starter thing. We've just been watching the survival show on the History Channel called Alone, where they like drop people into wilderness with like 10 items, and they have to survive as long as they can. So I mean,
is that like a flint?
Yeah, like a little flint and steel.
Mm-hmm.
You need a tarp for sure.
She's like legit on this.
A collapsible shovel is not a bad idea. And I'm thinking, I don't have time to get licensed to get a gun, and it's much more difficult to get a gun in Canada, but I can go get a bow and arrow tomorrow. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that, because also like, I'm sorry to talk about you guys, but you know, like part of me is like, are they going to have a civil war down there?
Possibly.
If they do, and they decide to come up in here and get us, who's going to stop them? Nobody. Europe's busy. I just need to be able to. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do a little, you know, I love when I play Skyrim, I'm really good at the archery. So I'm this is so crazy. And then like,
I love
you know,
all of this so
food,
much.
all this kind of stuff. But then like, you need some things. Esther, 100% weed. That I can get you, like, you know, got it. Shut down. We're here in Canada. That's another thing. I hope you guys get on real soon.
We're coming around. We're coming around.
Yes, Colorado,
Michigan.
LA.
Oh,
LA.
nice.
We're good
That's
to
right.
go.
That's right. And then I would try to think of like things that could help us. Like you got to bring a deck of cards. Things that
I thought you said bring a dick. I'm sorry. I was
Gotta bring a dick.
A deck of cards.
With you.
My husband is coming with me, so there you go.
Covered.
Yeah. And my rain boots. My niece just asked me to get her for her birthday, and I did a set of hip waders. So if you have to like, you know, like escape through the creeks or something, you can keep yourself dry.
Yeah,
they always
girl,
talk
you're
about
good to go.
soldiers. Like they always talk about one of the hardest things for soldiers is like the wet feet, right? And the not having dry socks or whatever. Yeah. Interesting.
I want to go to Aurora's
in a
house.
Crisis.
If
I know.
this happens, I'm going to be like, I got to get to Toronto.
And she's only like 4 hours, you know, from Detroit. So
that's true. Yeah, if you can make
only
it across
like
the river,
2 Lansing trips.
Really.
Yeah.
So I'm horrible in a crisis. So I would glom onto you.
Great.
One time when my husband and I were working on a cruise ship for Second City, we had a random alarm in the middle of the night. It was an accident, but we didn't know. And so it was like a get off the ship alarm. And he was like trying to wake me up. I'm like, you know, I'm like the ship could be sinking. And I got up and I remember this so clearly. And by the way, I'm almost 6 months quit smoking. So this is relevant to the story. During a pandemic. Great idea.
Wow.
But at the time I was a smoker. And I remember staring sleepily between my bra and my cigarettes, trying to decide which one to take because I only had time apparently to get one of the two. And I kept thinking to myself, I can take the cigarettes and I'd probably barter for things on the tender boat.
Yes.
Like jail.
Yeah, and then the alarm went off and I went back to bed. But
The only argument for a bra is that if you got underwiring, then you have a little bit of metal with you. You can like take out and use to like pick a lock.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stab someone
You're
in the
amazing.
eye.
That is so
You know what? This
great.
is from playing so many RPGs and like thinking, what's in my pack? You know, and like, you know, do I
Oh,
want
yeah,
this? You know,
my
like all that stuff.
inventory.
Yes,
and
inventory.
now I'm in the town and I can upgrade my weapons.
Yes, 100%.
Yes. So here's one that I've been thinking about. What makes you laugh, like crazy gut laugh? Jaime, what tickles your comedy fancy?
In person, I think that we are lucky because we are friends with the faces of comedy and the funniest people. So in person, I go nuts just watching people kind of score on each other or crack jokes with each other. I'm an easy laugher. So in person, it's my friends, and my mom also is absolutely hilarious. My mom and I get on FaceTime, and she is so funny. And she laughs at herself, which is, I think, such a beautiful trait. She lets me kind of score on her. So in person, it's my friends, and on TV or in movies, I don't know. It's if something is really, it's not slapstick. I don't love like that. You know, not like The Bridesmaids isn't really killing me. Like, I like it, but I don't know what I really laugh out loud when I'm alone. I'm watching Schitt's Creek right now, and it makes me laugh at least once an episode.
Oh my God.
Out loud. Mm-hmm. So I guess in real life, people, friends, and in fake life, kind of probably a little bit smarter comedy.
Cool.
Over like poop stuff.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't a panel of boys. I don't think it was going to be. As my husband says, poop, farts, and pee is like always funny. I'm like, you're a guy. Aurora, what makes you laugh?
That's a really good question, because I have that same disease that all the Second City alumni get. You know, when you're watching a show at opening night, you're like, that's funny. You know, like laughing out loud. But I do laugh out loud. I'm trying to think of the things that have made me laugh the most. And at home, I'm really fortunate, as we all are. Like, isn't it amazing to have all the funny friends that we do? Like, we're so fortunate. Like, they're right? Smart and they're funny, and it's great. My husband makes me laugh, and we make each other laugh, which I'm really, you know, which is pretty great. He's a really smart comedian and a really great actor, but he's also like super physical. And he does a thing around the house that he almost never does for other people. So I guess I'm the one who gets to see it the most, but he is so good at dancing and like air guitaring or air piano and lip syncing. And like when Return of the Mac comes on, like it's just the best. He's so good. And then my son, he makes us laugh with his like commitment to emotion. You know, when he will like have a good cry about like losing his shoe under the streetcar, you know, and like he's just so committed. And I think that those are the things that make me laugh. The last thing that made me just like kind of cry laughing was this little it was short, and I cannot remember. I'm so sorry. The name of it. It was from a guy who's a comedian in LA, and it's called Cute House. And so these guys who keep noticing this house, it's like, that's really fucking cute. And they end up having like this male, they all come in and they're like, this house is cute as fuck, man. This house is cute as dick. And they're just like fully into it. And they have like an encounter group then like that grows about like, you know, the owner of the house is like, yeah, come into my cute house. They're looking at it all. They're just like, whoa, like is the emotional commitment of that just made me cry laughing.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta look that up.
If you look at Cute House on YouTube, it should come up. It's great.
Oh, that's good.
I love that. And I love the, laughing at home thing. That just makes life worth living, especially when you're all stuck together.
Yeah.
Esther, how about you?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you and John, do you musically improv around the house together?
You know what's funny? I'm actually this is the piano right here.
Uh-huh.
And we don't play a lot of music. I feel badly because sometimes I forget how amazing he is at playing music because it doesn't happen. And mostly because I'm a bitch, I guess. I don't like sound of any kind, really. I've turned into that, put your headphones on. I don't want to hear your music. So it's mostly my fault. So no, we do sometimes though.
Okay.
Every once in a while. Esther, what makes you laugh?
Oh my gosh, everything you guys said about Friends, that's just and I am very lucky that I'm quarantining with my boyfriend who is a comedian as well. And so just the weird stuff that you laugh around the house at, and the cute that we were doing our live thing today. And I didn't know they made food processors so tiny. And I was like,
like a bullet?
It was not like a food processor, like you pour in a little bit. It was really, can't have both hands. It was really small. And I'm like, oh, look at it, so cute. And Steph's like, why is it cute? Because it's small and it's blue. I don't know. It's cute.
He doesn't understand.
So cute. That just cracked me up. But I am, and the Return of the Mac thing reminded me of a friend of mine who was saying, why did we not hear about him leaving? It was not like
when did the Mac go?
Leaving, but when he came back, it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about him leaving.
So funny.
I'm addicted to TikTok right now, and the animals on there. Oh my God, I just die laughing. It's gotten to the point of guys in porn, and they start out just watching missionaries and titties, and it's fine. But then it goes into some hardcore stuff. Yeah. So now, I'll see a dog wearing a outfit and dancing, and I'm like, really? That's it? I just watched a groundhog getting ready to hibernate in somebody's bedroom. I know I follow a beaver that lives in a house. I follow somebody who owns a zebra. I follow a tortoise that
a dog? That's all you've got?
Yeah, these people have been owning these animals and not telling anyone, apparently.
That's so adorable. It's been ages since a mammal made me laugh. Anyway,
you can try a little harder.
Nice try. Cute bow tie, dumb cat bastard.
Oh, really? Just a tie? He's not going to jump over a huge stack of toilet paper? That's what the last one wearing a tie did.
I mean,
to WAP, so whatever. I can't handle how much that it's a mess.
Well, a lot of people know this about me, but for me, it's usually crying and any activity that doesn't really go with crying, specifically eating and crying, or and then we sort of on the ship created an improv warm-up game where you mime any activity while doing a full cry. So changing a diaper and crying, wrapping a present and crying,
it's kitty cat careers, but crying.
Die laughing. I think just because it's supposed to be something that you should stop the activity and just cry. Don't keep doing it. So
no, it makes it better. It's better.
Jaime knows our friend Topher, who used to, when he was living in our friend Sean's basement, which is funny in and of itself enough as the setting for this story, but he texted, or this might have even been before texting, called and was like, hey, I know you love this. I'm in the basement watching Love Actually, eating tacos and crying. And that was pretty much the funniest thing I'd ever heard in my entire life.
Yes.
It's you have to tilt your head and cry, and you're alone in a basement. Oh, so good. Man watching that movie alone. So many good things about it. What was the moment you knew you wanted to be a professional actor or comedian? Was there a moment? Was it several things? What was this is it? Aurora, start us off.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to be an actor before I really knew that comedy would be like something I could do. Although I did spend a lot of my childhood listening to like Monty Python records and doing their monologues. But then when I was 12, I got really fortunate. I got to do a few shows at the Professional Theater in Thunder Bay, which is the city where I grew up, which is not far from Michigan. And
I didn't know you were from Thunder Bay.
From
That's
Thunder
cool.
Bay, yeah. And Magnus Theater is the name of the theater there. And I got to be in The Tempest, and I got to be in the front page. And so I got to
the comedic Tempest.
Yeah,
the
that
hilarious.
And so I got to spend, like many months at this really impressionable age, like hanging out with the actors and, loving being in a theater and memorizing all their lines. Cause when the memory you have when you're a 12-year-old is like nothing, it's like a sponge. You can remember it all. As far as comedy, like, it's funny because I went to York University for acting, and it's a dramatic program. They never even mention comedy. And but I remember one time we were doing, like in fourth year, we were doing a presentation at the beginning of the year to like welcome the first years kind of thing. And I did improvise a little bit, and I remember getting a laugh and thinking, "Ooh, that feels really nice." But then it wasn't until a few years later that I started just taking classes because a friend of mine was taking them. And it was like, oh, this, once you get over that first improv, like this is a nightmare kind of feeling, it was like, oh, this feels amazing. And then I'm using everything. So it was a few different moments, I guess.
Yeah.
Conglomeration. The conglomeration. It was an evolution.
Evolution.
Big learning.
How about you, Esther? What made you decide to go into comedy?
I was playing music before, and so I was always doing, like, I don't know, random creative stuff, I guess. I never thought like that I lived in Chicago for 9 years, and I was like, I can't take classes. Like, $250 is $1 million. Like, I don't know. I was in college, and I should have. I worked at a Potbelly's sandwich place where, like, people who had one-man shows at Second City, like Second City people, I worked with them all day, and they were hilarious, and we just like made jokes all day long, and somehow I still didn't do that. But I was working at a post-production company in Michigan, and two of the guys that I worked with I was always joking with them, and then we would just like bust out into scenes, and then somebody, at the end would just be like, end scene, and then they were like, we need to take improv classes. So I did the work, figured out where to go at the time, which I went to Margaret Edwartowski and signed up for classes, and I was like, all right, they're going to take classes with me, whatever. And I went, and they didn't. And so I was like, okay.
Bill Bouchard, right?
No, it's Rich Goteri.
Oh, Rich. Okay.
Yeah. And
everybody who takes stand-up here, it's Bill.
Oh, it's improv.
Oh, yeah. I thought we were talking about stand-up classes.
Yeah. It was improv classes, and I think it was more like, well, it's closer and whatever, and it's short form. I don't know. And then I went, and they were like, so why are you here? I'm like, my two friends were supposed to be here, and they didn't show up, so I'm just here. And so that's how I started taking improv. And
that's
then
awesome.
My people in my class were, I don't know, not, when you don't just vibe with people. And then I went to mostly stand-up. So I kick myself every day for not continuing in that route and then going back to it.
That would be an interesting story, sort of like, I was in improv, but I didn't vibe with my class, so I didn't want to play with other people, so I just did stand-up.
I was like, I guess I better just be alone.
They ruined it for me.
No, but that is one of the things that I really think is really impressive about you, is that you are like, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it, right? Like, you came out to LA, you didn't sit down for a minute, you went right to it, and I think that's something that's really admirable, because plenty of us are like, I mean, I want to, but I'm going to let Esther take the class and sit back at home while she takes it,
I had so many people in my life pass away that every time somebody passes away, I'm like, life is short. I'm going to do another thing that
you only get one.
Girl.
Yeah.
That's me too.
Now, Jaime, I imagine you probably didn't have a whole lot of choice in the matter, considering you grew up in a theater. But.
It's very funny because my parents both are actors. My mom had a theater, which was an amazing way to grow up. And I don't really think it was their dream that I would necessarily go into it either, because it's a hard life. And so even when I went to college, both my mom and my dad were like double major. And I'm like, no. Well, actually, I did double major. So I did say yes, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm not going to use it. So I double majored with communications, but I loved always making people laugh. And whenever I would watch, so my mom and dad split up when I was pretty young, and she was the artistic director of the theater. So I was there a lot. And I would see all the shows from every age, and I would watch the shows, and I always knew I'm her. The character actress that would pop onto the show, I would go, that's me.
That's my part.
I just knew. And my mom played in this production of the comic and lusty tales of Tom Jones, and she played this like innkeeper woman, and she tore it up, and she won an award and everything. And it was just like watching her, I'm like, that's what I want to do. And I mean, of course, there's a million kitschy little stories of me jumping on stage and doing a bunch of crazy shit, but I don't know what else I would be doing. I mean, I think I could be an amazing AT&T rep who has impeccable timing, but I really, there was no backup plan. So I just have never not been pursuing it.
Yep.
And that's it.
Love it. Well, we got about 10 minutes left, if you can believe that. This has been the shortest hour of my entire life. 9, really. And I wanted to get to one of my favorite parts of the show, which is the Hey Girl Ally Awards. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So because we're amazing women, it doesn't mean we got there alone. And, I wanted to do something that was pro-woman, but not anti-man. So we created the Ally Awards to celebrate predominantly men, but if it's a woman or someone that isn't gender conforming that is your ally, you are more than welcome to celebrate them as well. So the ally is someone who helped us along the way and treated us with great respect and really bolstered us in our journey as artists. So Jaime, why don't you start us off and tell us who your ally award goes to?
My ally award goes to the one and only Mark Levinson of Michigan.
Yay.
Mark Levinson was my first director in the touring company at Second City Detroit, and he was my last director in Novi and the main stage in Detroit. He is the kindest, most hilarious man. And when I was in the Tourco, he saw something in my audition for Tourco understudy. Esther's talking about the price of the class. I found out from Sean McGettigan at Seven Brothers Bar on a Sunday night. On Monday, they're doing auditions for Tourco understudy. And if you get it, you get $100 off your classes and a parking spot. And I was like, I got to go to that. So I crashed the audition. And 2 weeks, and it was only for understudy, so I don't think I was very nervous, which is a great bit of advice for any of you watching. Don't put so much pressure on yourself. I thought it was just a little thing. It was my start to try to get in Second City, and I was just very chill at that audition. And 2 weeks later, Mark called me on the phone, and I was shaking. And he was a wonderful director. He is such a good person. And currently, he is a clinical social worker and therapist in Michigan. And I Googled it to find that picture. You can have him be your therapist, and he's wonderful. So I haven't talked to him. I'm going to send him this clip. He doesn't know this is happening, but thank you, Mark. You are a delightful person, and thanks for always helping me, and now you're helping anybody who comes to you. So you're just a good guy all around.
Oh, that's lovely. And what a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect that. That's great. He is a great dude. Good job. Thanks, Jaime. How about you, Esther? Who is your ally you want to share?
It is Jake Russell.
Yay! Oh,
yeah.
We love Jake.
Well, you guys know Jake well. I don't know if Aurora. If
I do not.
Maybe the viewers don't. And Aurora certainly doesn't.
Yes,
so.
He's a big cutie. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he is.
He was doing a show called Represent at Go Comedy before I left, and it was really cool because it was diverse. It was people of color, and he was like, "Anytime you want to go on, just that's it." It's just he's super laid back. And to the point where he's just like, if you ever want to be in my show, just show up. Just
oh my God, that is such a good tip.
He was like, I mean, it's just like not. I was thinking about like, well, does he doesn't specifically like go out of his way to help women as much as he just goes out of his way to figure out who all the funny people are.
He's good to
in
people.
stand up and in improv, and to fill the void that is the diversity of people just not having as much of a chance to get up on stage. So he would find like the comics in Detroit who like the people in the suburbs didn't really even know existed. For some reason, stand up is super segregated in the Detroit area.
So is theater. Yep, it all is.
It's so weird. And so
it is weird.
And so a lot of people didn't do improv. So he would have people just come up and do it, and everyone was funny. It was great. And Tam White is his was his co-host on the show, and it was awesome that you just let me do stand-up, improv, and all of that before I left. So, and
awesome,
great. He's got his one-man show that I keep telling him to bring to LA. So
I told him too.
Birth of a Hoe-Ass Nation.
Yeah, Birth of a Hoe-Ass Nation. He could have gotten up at Second City Hollywood in a second.
Yes. Oh.
Well, congratulations, Jake Russell. Well earned. You are a Hey Girl ally.
Yay.
Aurora.
My ally award goes to Daniel Shahori.
Yay! Yay! Oh, I love that picture.
That's one of the few photos. Wait, you said you took that picture?
No, I said I love that picture.
It is a great picture. There are not many post photos of him because Danny is a guy who's mostly behind the scenes. And it's funny, Esther, you're talking about like somebody who's like good at like treating everybody well and finding the funny people. He's one of the first people that I met, literally the first few times I was performing at Second City Toronto, like in the Tim Sims Playhouse, which is this little side thing, like doing student shows. And I met him very early on, and he's never been like, it's funny because I'm very blessed. I have many amazing men in my life and my professional life. And it's not like he like hired me to Second City or anything like that. But he's just always been there. He's always been a person who supports his friends. And the people that he sees like, you're good, you should keep going. We've worked together. He's been a producer. He and his brother have written things. He's been a stage manager. He was my roommate at one point. And his main job is that he's a publicist. And he's always been amazing at like doing publicity for people and like giving people little publicity things like, this is how you can, get your show out there. There was one point in the last couple of years where he kind of took over alumni relations for Second City Toronto. And I don't know about the other locations, but Toronto alumni have like a full spectrum relationship with the mothership, right? And there were times where he was like, I'm tired of that place or whatever. But it's like you'll take that call because Danny is the one reaching out, going, hey, like we really want you guys to come out. And he was able to like reforge relationships because everybody loves Dan Shahori. And he's just always been an incredible person, always ready to talk about ideas, so encouraging. And there are lots of moments where just on a personal level, like when I try to think of like, oh, I should keep going because of this high purpose or believe in myself because of this. And it's his voice that I think of. And I think that he is that person for a lot of people. He's, it's funny, you can't see so much in this photo. He's often mistaken for a white supremacist because he's got a shaved head. He's not in any way. He's one of the gentlest guys. And he's really a wonderful human and so supportive of everybody in the community. And so Dan Shahori gets my ally award.
Yay! Congratulations, Dan. Well,
I love it. I can watch it because he's not even on social media, even though he's a publicist. Like he himself, he uses it for other people, but he doesn't do it himself. So he might not even know that I'm doing this.
Well, you can send him the YouTube.
I will send him the YouTube. Yes.
Yes, please do share with all of the award winners. All they get is a mention on this obscure streaming show and and our undying respect. So
isn't the mention on obscure streaming show the best we can all hope for right now? And this in today's world.
It's pretty much peak 2020
Yeah.
at that point. I was mentioned on Hey Gurl from the Planet Ant Facebook page. Man, what an amazing experience to have all of you here. And I have like 2 hours worth of questions for the rest of you, but boy, oh boy, it's 59 minutes and 55 seconds. Before we go, I want to encourage everybody who's listening to get out and vote if you're in America. Whatever you believe, I just think it's really important to use your voice has been the theme of tonight. So please do that. I think you know where my preferences lie, but now that I've finally said it, thank you, Esther. It's been great talking to you. Thank you, Jaime. You are just a delight, and I miss you so much. And Aurora, what a thrill. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's so good to see you again. It's so good to meet you, Esther and Jaime, to see you again. It's like, this
so
is
nice to meet you, Aurora.
This is a super fun way to spend Saturday.
I know. Hooray for Wonderful Women. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being with us, my wonderful guests, and thanks, Jess, for all that you do.
Thanks, Jess.
November 14th is our next show, and we already have some really kick-ass women lined up, so we'll see you then.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
And you.